In today's video, we're going to teach you how to figure out exactly which version of the Monster Manual you're looking at, whether it's in your private collection or something you're thinking about purchasing. And once you figure it out, you can do it in less than 60 seconds. Stick around. Today's video is a new segment I call What Is It Wednesday, here on our channel, Old School Rules, where we celebrate the community of old school gamers and grognards who like classic RPGs, miniatures, magazines, and everything that goes with it. So today's the first episode for What Is It Wednesday, and we're going to start with the first edition AD&D Monster Manual. And we will help you figure out what to look at to determine exactly what version of this book is in your personal collection or you might be picking up on a local game store shelf. We hope you enjoyed the video. Please stick around. Okay, so here's the inaugural edition of What Is It Wednesday, where we take a look at the AD&D Monster Manual. I'm AZ Mountaineer, and this is our channel, Old School Rules. When we take a look at the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Monster Manual and try to identify exactly which version we have in our collection or on the game store shelf that we might be interested in buying, there are a few key things you look at to help you do this very quickly and very reliably. So here's the cover of the first printing of the Monster Manual. And as you can see, there are a lot of different versions with subtle changes that help you identify which version you're looking at, including one that was printed in the UK that's a soft cover. Here are the key places where you need to look to help you make these identifications. At the top of the book, you'll see some words. In the first printing here, it says Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. You'll see the circle in the top left corner, which we'll point out later in different versions. And then the other words on the page, Monster Manual, where is that located, and the logo at the bottom. There are changes on the spine of the book as well, but none of those are needed in order for you to make the identification. In fact, of the 10 different versions of this book, you can identify 6 of them with doing nothing more than just looking at the cover. And the others, you only need to look at one page inside the book to help you know for sure which version you have. I call this the either interior cover page or the copyright page. And again, I've highlighted some things you'll see that are different from one version to another. There is a registered mark and later a trademark at the top by the words Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. But here's the key. Beneath the word Monster Manual in the middle will be either no printing or the addition of the printing. You'll also see some changes in the copyright. Again, that's not critical. And then down at the bottom, there is either the absence or presence of some text that will help you identify which edition you're looking at, which version you're looking at. The other thing that you may need to know to distinguish a couple of different printings would be what we call the end papers or the fly leaves. In the earliest versions, those are red, and later on, those are white. So in all, there are 10 different printings, or I'll say versions, of the Monster Manual. There are 7 different covers and 4 different editions, and that's the word that's used on that copyright page, which tells you, as I understand it, what the text from there to the end is going to look like. As I mentioned, the key details that you'll need to look at, and with this you can figure out every single version, where the word Advanced Dungeons & Dragons is placed and other text that might be around it on the cover. When you look at the copyright page, what's in that middle section that I circled in orange to tell you what edition it is. And then what color are the end pages or fly leaves. And as you can see, once you figure out how to understand which ones are which, it's only going to take you a few seconds to figure this out. Let's take a look. So in the first printing, all you have to do is see the cover. At the very top, where you see the 2 arrows, underneath the word Dungeons & Dragons, it will say TM applied for. And that's only there in the first printing. You'll also notice, of course, the early logo is the lizard man, and then on the copyright page, there's nothing in the middle under the word Monster Manual. and that's only present in the first printing. In the second printing, you'll see on the cover that text we just discussed is gone, but it's still the Lizard Man logo. And with that, you know, without even opening the book, you're looking at a second printing. If you want to confirm, turn to the copyright page, you'll see second edition. That's only there in a second printing. In the third printing, again, don't even have to open the book. Same Advanced Dungeons and Dragons at the top, but now the logo has changed and it's the wizard. Again, you want to confirm that, copyright page will show you third edition. There's also something called the third beta printing, and that's where the text of the book on the inside is exactly the same as the third, but the cover has been changed to what I'm going to call the fourth printing cover, which is shown here. And you'll see the words Advanced D&D has moved into that yellow bar that's in the top left corner, and the word Monster Manual has moved to the top of the book. This one requires you to open the book to confirm, but as soon as you turn to the copyright page and see this cover with a third printing, you've got a third beta printing of the book. Next is what I call the fourth printing. There are three different ones, an alpha, a beta, and a gamma version. We're going to show you how to know very quickly what you've got. The way you know it's a fourth printing and not a later printing is by looking at the yellow bar at the top corner of the cover, and it says Advanced D&D, and there's no other text there. That tells you it's a fourth printing of some type. Now you turn to the cover page, or the copyright page, and you see fourth edition, and at the bottom where the circle is, between David Sutherland and the inquiries regarding this work, there's nothing there. That tells you that it's an alpha printing. The next one, you'll see at the bottom, between on the copyright page, between David Sutherland and that text, is a new line that tells you that this book has been distributed by Random House. You'll know it's a beta because you'll see that text, but the fly leaves or end pages are still red. On the gamma printing, those fly leaves are now white, and that's the only difference between the fourth beta and the fourth gamma printing. Next is the fifth printing. Again, you don't even need to open the book. If you see on the cover Advanced D&D with the TM for trademark next to it, you've got a fifth printing. That's the only printing that has that look to it on the cover. This is by far the most popular printing of the book. And again, if you want to go and look at these on eBay or in your gaming store, more than likely, just statistically speaking, this is the version you're most likely to find. It's the most common. It's still a very good book if you want it just for the purposes of having the book on your shelf, but not nearly as collectible or as desirable in terms of price as other versions would be. Inside, this page doesn't change in the fifth and sixth printings. You still see fourth edition, and then you'll see the Random House text in under where it says cover by David Sutherland. The middle of this page I find to be often confusing when you see things for sale, because a lot of folks who don't really know the collectible market for Advanced Dungeons & Dragons products look at this and call everything a fourth edition, where really it's a lot more helpful if you can tell us what printing it is, because it has a lot bigger effect on desirability, collectability, and price. And frankly, that's the other thing you'll see a lot of times. People can't tell the difference when they're trying to set their price, and they'll have this very common book and they'll price it as if it's a more collectible fourth edition. Sixth printing. So this says Advanced Dungeons and Dragons with the TM, and now under it though, it says Adventure Games. And again, if you see those words on the text, you don't need to open the book. You know you've got a sixth printing. You look at the copyright page, that text is exactly the same. And finally, we have this soft cover. It was printed in the UK by Games Workshop, who was the distributor for TSR overseas. And this is a combination of a second and third. The cover looks like a second because it's got Advanced Dungeons & Dragons with the Lizard Man logo. Then on the copyright page, which I recognize you can't see, so let me do that, you can see it's third edition in the middle, and at the bottom has a different graphic. It has the TSR wizard as well as the Games Workshop logo, and that's what you're going to see on the inside. But you don't even need to open it because it's a soft cover, you know what it is. They did a couple of these soft covers. They did this one in the Player's Handbook, but never did a soft cover release of the DMG. But it's a really interesting one, and some people like to collect it. You can get them here in the United States fairly easily at this point. So if you stuck around here to the end of the video, I'll reward you with a graphic chart that I put together, which will also be down in the notes below, and you feel free to use that. And maybe it helps you sort of go back and refer. It has all the different changes, and beyond just what I talked about, it has a lot of different changes you can see visually in the books. Not all of them, for sure. And while we're talking about all the different information that I used today, thanks go to a website called the Akeum. The folks on there who know a lot more than I do about collecting have taken the time to put together a wealth of information for anyone who's interested in collecting Dungeons & Dragons material, especially the older stuff that we like so much here on Old School Rules. So I relied really heavily on the information I found there for today's video. And so anyway, I hope you like this, and go on eBay and test yourself, and you'll find pretty quickly that you can point out without a lot of trouble exactly what you're looking at. And again, I think in under 60 seconds, if you've got a picture of the cover, if you can see the fly leaves, if you can see the copyright page, you can do it 100% of the time, no question. And that's it for the first edition here of What Is It Wednesday. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it was informative. And now you can go out and look at the books in your favorite gaming store like the greatest expert in the world and know without a question what you're looking at. Until next time, my friends, keep rolling 20s.